Hello everyone. So in this video we're going to be starting by getting our environment set up for our Python program, and we're going to install a couple of softwares here. So first we're going to install Anaconda, and I've actually already installed Anaconda, but to install it you can just type in Anaconda Python, and then you can see it comes up here on the right, the Anaconda Python distribution. But you should just be able to go to the first link here. And yep, this is it. You just go to download Anaconda at the top right. And then depending on your operating system, you can choose a Mac, Linux, Windows. And I downloaded the latest one here. So you just click download, and you don't have to do this. You can just wait for it to download down here. And once this finishes downloading, then you just follow the installer. But since it takes a little bit of time, we won't wait for this to install for this video. The next thing you're going to need so the only reason I'm installing Anaconda is because we're going to be using PyQt, which is the designer for the graphic user interface. And I'll get around to showing you that, but if you look at the introduction video to this series, you would have seen kind of what we're going to build with it. You can also just install Python itself and then install the Qt designer later, but if you install Anaconda, it comes bundled with it, so you don't have to install Python or PyQt or the Qt designer, because Anaconda comes with all of that. So you'll get Python, and you'll get a whole bunch of data science packages, and you also have PyQt included. So that's the way I'm going to go with this. And I'm not going to go super in detail about all this stuff in Anaconda, because I don't really know all of it. But if you're interested, it's mostly used for data science, and you can create Python environments. And I'll get into that a little bit later too. But essentially, a Python environment is you can just create an environment that has multiple different versions of Python, for example, and you can install different packages that you might need, and you can activate one or the other environment depending on what your project is using. And in addition to that, you can also send those environment requirements to other people so they can set up the exact same environment. And I'll actually show you the documentation for that right now. So if you just go Conda documentation in Google and managing environments, this is a pretty good one here. If you scroll down here, you can see how to create an environment, and you can see, if you keep scrolling down here, cloning an environment. So this .yml file is going to be, if someone was sharing their environment with you, you would get the environment file, and then you could create that environment file with the .yml file. So creating an environment, so you should also be able to share building identical environments. Where is that? Determining, viewing, using pip, saving environment variables, sharing environment. So here's where I was talking about. This is where you would create an environment file, so it's super easy. You literally just go Conda environment export, and yeah, then you're going to get the YML file, and you can share that with anybody, and they can set up exactly the same environment on their computer and have all the packages that they need and everything. So it can be kind of handy to have this. But again, this isn't super necessary. I mean, if you're familiar, with Python, and you can just install the PyQt design, the Qt designer yourself, that's no problem as well. So yeah, the next thing we're going to need is you're going to need a Python IDE. I like PyCharm, so I'm going to install PyCharm. So we can Google that. And the great thing about it is there is a community version. So if you go to, yes, you agree to the cookies, and then here we go, community version right here, which is free and open source. So we can just download that right now. And it's going to come down here, and actually we can stop this one, we'll cancel that. And that's going to take 3 minutes. So while that's installing down here, I will show you the Anaconda prompt. So after you install Anaconda, you will have this new command line, I guess, installed, and it's best to use this one with Windows. I don't know why I couldn't get the normal. Usually the normal command prompt doesn't usually work that well. So if you're going to do anything with the Conda environment or Anaconda environment, this is probably the way to do it. If you're familiar with Python, then you're probably used to pip installing modules or packages. And in Anaconda, you can pip install. You could just pip install something if you wanted, but you can also do what's called Conda install. And it usually gives some more information and more details if it has like if your package needs another package, or if the versions are out, it gives some really useful information. And I've been able to actually kind of figure out, debug some things by just doing a Conda install. So if you're having trouble with a pip install and you're using Anaconda, try Conda install, and it usually gives more information about stuff. But just to kind of do a brief overview, and this really, we can go more into Anaconda in other tutorials, but we can do what's called Conda info and then -- environments, and we can see how many environments are on this computer. And you can see I only have 2 environments, and with the star right here, this one here with the star is the current active environment, which is the root. So all we have to do to we can do a Conda list, and then that's going to take a moment to load, but it's going to show all of the packages that are installed on this environment. So you can see quite a few things are installed. Lots of this is for data science, which is pretty cool. But it also comes with PyQt, which we're going to use for the GUI. So it's probably alphabetical here. Here we go. ABC, here we go, PyQt. So there it is. That's what we're going to be using for the GUI. And essentially, that's really like the only other thing we're probably going to use. Well, okay, no, we're probably going to have to install something for connecting the database. But it might actually have PyODBC, maybe, actually, if we check it. Yeah, it does actually here. But, I mean, if you wanted to use like PyMySQL or PyMSQL, if you're connecting to like a SQL Server database, I mean, there's many options that you might have to, what you would traditionally have to like pip install things, but Conda comes with a bunch of stuff. But just to kind of explain that other, so if we go back to Conda info environments, and we have to go -- environments, I'm pretty sure, yep. And that'll pull up the environment. So in order to, let's say we wanted to activate this environment, all we would have to do is go Conda activate. Actually, you know what? I think in Windows, all we have to do is go activate Py36. And that's just for Python 3.6. And we've activated it, or, okay, well, it's thinking, it's going to activate it here. Hopefully, yep, there we go. So you can see it puts it in parentheses here, Py36. And then if we Conda list this environment, it'll look different because it's a different environment. So you can see there's a lot less stuff because I created this environment, and you can see it doesn't have a whole bunch of other things. It's got the PyQt and stuff because that's because I was using it, but it's a different environment. So this is an active environment now, and you can see it even tells us the Python version. And that's sort of what I was saying. You could have, this environment could have 3.6, but this environment could have 2.7, and you can just jump back and forth between them as you need to. So it can be kind of handy. So it looks like this is done, so we can get ahead and run the installer for PyCharm. And we'll say yes. And basically, we're just going to follow all the defaults here. Yes, next, and next, and install. And that's pretty much it for that. But just getting back to the Conda environment, well, that's installing. Yeah, so that's essentially sort of the benefit here. Again, you could use Python, but if you want to use Conda as well, that's fine too. So essentially, while this is installing, we can check out where exactly we find the Qt designer. And they've kind of hidden it away. I don't know why it's like this, but if you open up your File Explorer and you head into your C drive, click on Users and click on your file or your user account. And my computer's name is Chocolate Milk, and so, but for some reason it shortened it here. So But once you're here, you should see this file, Anaconda 3. So when you double click this, you're gonna go into the library next, and then in this folder you're gonna go into the bin, and then you're gonna scroll down, and here it is, the designer. So this is the Qt designer. So you can just double click that, and you could make a shortcut if you wanted, you know, to your desktop or to wherever. But that's where you're going to have to find it. So just to show you again, it's Choco Anaconda 3 library and then bin. And of course, it's going to be whatever your username is. And once you've done that, here is the Qt designer. So in the next video, we're going to actually get around to actually doing some design. But let's see. So I'm going to have to just close this, and I'll just minimize that. So it looks like PyCharm has finished installing. Okay, so in the next video here, we'll just get ahead and start designing some stuff, and maybe we'll jump into the code either in the next one or the following video. But yeah, if you're liking this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.